All right, so what we're doing today is I'm going to be giving you all my first impressions of one of the newest aromatics fragrances. So this is French Avenue Aromatics X Xandal, I believe is how you pronounce it or say it. And this fragrance, while it's not, I don't think it's available yet at any of the sort of United States retailers. I actually picked up this sample from a site called fillwithbaraka.com. I believe they did also have like the full bottle of this available as well. But I just wanted to get a sample first to, see how I like this one. And, see if it was, kind of full bottle worthy. All right. So again, the fragrance is X Xandal, and this is basically, it's like a very sort of vanilla centric type of scent. All right. Now, as for the notes on X Xandal, the notes are going to be, in the top notes, you get Madagascar vanilla, bourbon vanilla, and then vanilla caviar. In the mid, you get vanilla, rum, chocolate truffle, patchouli, and jasmine. And then in the base, you get vanilla absolute, caramel, tonka bean, and agarwood. So, obviously there's like 5 different types of vanilla in this particular fragrance. And you absolutely do smell that, with this fragrance. Now, what I'll say is the main sort of takeaway that I get from this fragrance is it definitely comes off as like a very sort of boozy, really, really fresh and high quality smelling vanilla scent. Now, I have seen some people on Fragrantica have kind of said that, this fragrance smells like weed to them. I honestly don't get that. I don't get that in the opening of this fragrance. I don't get it in the mid or even the dry down. What this does definitely smell like, and more so I would say on, like a tester strip or paper as opposed to skin, is when you first spray this, especially if you're smelling it off of a tester strip, it is going to smell a lot like, kind of like a Tootsie Roll, in my opinion. Like basically like a rum infused sort of Tootsie Roll. Like the rum is definitely very strong in this fragrance. And it gives, like I said, the fragrance a really nice sort of booziness. Now, the way that the vanilla comes off, at least in the opening to me, is if, let's say you take a fresh, hydrated vanilla bean, and you take a knife and you kind of cut that vanilla bean down the middle to open it up. This to me smells like if you were to take that knife and dig some of that paste out of it and just kind of like sniff that paste off of the knife. That's really the best way for me to kind of describe the way that the vanilla sort of comes across, at least initially in this fragrance. Is I definitely get like a really, really fresh vanilla bean mixed with, that sort of rum note as well. And it has like a kind of like chocolatiness, that kind of lingers in the background of the fragrance as well. Now, I don't really know exactly what chocolate truffle smells like, but I can definitely say that note for sure, it does kind of give the fragrance like a sort of chocolatey feel. But, again, obviously the main thing really that you're getting is kind of like a more sort of boozy vanilla. And that's also coming from that bourbon vanilla note as well that you're getting, in the opening. Really, like bourbon vanilla, Madagascar vanilla, those are, 2 of the more sort of like higher tier sort of vanillas. Vanilla Absolute, I don't know if that's just like a sort of fragrance, sort of extract or something like that. I haven't seen anything like any product being sold called Vanilla Absolute. But yeah, man, definitely you do, like I said, get a very sort of high quality vanilla smell from this fragrance. And this isn't really like a powdery vanilla either. So like I said, it definitely smells more kind of like a sort of vanilla bean paste. Mixed with a sort of boozy sort of vanilla as well, which is, coming from that rum. It's coming from the bourbon vanilla. And it's also is coming from that Madagascar vanilla as well. Um, you kind of get like a sort of, slightly chocolatey, feel in the background of this fragrance. The chocolate in this doesn't smell like powdery either. Like, it doesn't smell like a cacao powder. This definitely more so to me smells like a very kind of like silky, smooth, creamy, sort of chocolate note that you get in this fragrance. Um, Definitely not like a sort of like, I wouldn't say this is like a super dark chocolate smell that you get from this. This is definitely more sort of like kind of like a milk sort of chocolate note. So it is a little bit more sweeter. And I would say kind of less dusty smelling as well. And then, I mean, really the other notes that are kind of listed in the note breakdown of this fragrance, I mean, I don't really get too much of, any of the other notes. I would say maybe a little bit of the patchouli, especially once you kind of get to like the dry down. But for the most part, the patchouli, the tonka, the oud, or agarwood, I don't really pick up on much of any of that. Like, I feel like it's all kind of blended together really, really well, to where, none of those notes really stick out at all for the most part. Now, also, just like the aromatics, what was it, Royal Taboo, this one, when you initially spray it on as well, you're not getting any sort of alcohol blast or anything like that at all. So this does smell very sort of like niche quality, in terms of how it's blended and how it smells. Now, I will say that this is not going to be a very sort of, in my opinion anyway, it's not going to be a mass appealing vanilla scent. I haven't really smelled anything like this. And to be honest with you, when I first sprayed it on, I really wasn't feeling this fragrance at all. Now, mind you, I was smelling it off of a tester strip. So, I would say, again, you want to wear this fragrance to really know whether or not you actually like it or not. But on first smell, it kind of, in some ways, reminded me a little bit of the opening of Royal Blend Bourbon, which I just wasn't a fan of that fragrance really at all. That's kind of the way that it came across, in my opinion, at least on the tester strip. I feel like I still get a little bit of that in, the opening, even on my skin, but it's not nearly as sort of spicy as, what Royal Blend Bourbon comes across as. And I'm not saying that it smells just like that at all. I just feel like there's like the slightest little similarities between something like this, the X Xandal, and Royal Blend Bourbon, at least in the opening. But yeah, man, pretty much this fragrance is going to be, in my opinion, more of kind of like a acquired taste for the most part. So I would say if you do have access to being able to get like a sample of the fragrance first, I would maybe recommend, getting a sample of this first and trying it out. And then, if you like what you smell from the sample, then I would say, okay, go ahead and probably, get the bottle. I don't know what the pricing on the X Xandal will be when it, comes to the United States. But based off of what the other aromatics fragrances were, those were like around the $60 mark. Now, it looks like Royal Taboo and Joma Shop has come down to about $40 now. I'm assuming that that's because they're getting ready to, start selling this fragrance on there. And so this will probably be at that $59.99 price point. But overall, man, I would say that this is a very unique, niche smelling, or niche quality smelling vanilla scent so far. And I will say that as I wear it more, as I smell it more, I can definitely appreciate it, a lot more. I still need to, give it some more wearings to really be able to know whether or not it would be something that I would be willing to get like a full bottle of. But, I think if you are someone who likes, vanilla scents, this will definitely be, a choice that you'll want to at least look into for sure. Do I think that this comes across as like a feminine leaning scent, or, you know, masculine leaning or unisex? I mean, for me, I would say it's unisex, but with a slight kind of masculine lean. Really because of like the sort of booziness that you get from this fragrance. To me, it does come off as a little bit more on like the masculine leaning side, but I could absolutely see a woman, you know, still wearing this fragrance, especially if she's really into like her, you know, vanilla scents. As far as the performance goes, I won't really go over that too much in this video. I'll save that for like a final thoughts video. But what I will say is this fragrance does seem to be very strong in terms of the projection and how long the fragrance projects. I mean, I was definitely noticing projection well past like 3 hours, it seems like. So, I mean, I've worn this about 2 times or so already. I feel like, you know, that's been about the amount of time that I really noticed it, you know, projecting. And I mean, longevity wise, definitely well over 12 hours. So this does seem to be a very beast mode sort of vanilla scent for sure. So if that's also something that you're sensitive to, especially from sweeter scents, like if sweeter, really, you know, beast mode types of scents really kind of mess with you and give you a headache, then I would say this is probably not going to be for you, because it's definitely not a light, you know, it's not a light scent at all. This is definitely one that'll kind of fill up a room, it seems like, for sure. So that's all I'll really get into as far as the performance goes in this video. But yeah, man, overall, I do think that this is one that's kind of growing on me, but I still have to see, you know, whether or not this is something that I would buy like a full bottle of. All right. Definitely, man, let me know in the comments what you all think about the scent, if you all have actually been able to get your hands on it yet. Let me know if you agree with my assessment of the fragrance so far, and also are you getting the same type of performance you know, that I seem to be getting, you know, so far with this fragrance. All right, so let me know in the comments below. I'll have a link in the description to where you can purchase either a full bottle or just a sample of this from filledwithbaraka.com. Just again, keep in mind that if you're, I guess, anywhere outside of, you know, London, England or whatever, you are going to have to wait a little bit longer for it to, you know, kind of come to your country. And also be careful of the payment method that you use to buy the fragrance with. So if you're using, you know, like a credit card, make sure that that credit card does not have a foreign transaction fee, because you will be hit with a foreign transaction fee if you buy from this particular store. All right. So definitely, man, again, let me know in the comments what you all think about this fragrance. And also, if you're brand new to the channel, do me a favor, go ahead and subscribe. And again, that's Jamar from Vegas Scents. I'll see you on the next video.